This is the most terrifying voice you will ever hear. It knows your name. Have you ever heard a voice that sends shivers down your spine? A voice so eerie and haunting that it seemed to come from beyond the grave? Imagine being out in the woods and suddenly hearing your name being called out loud, not by someone you know, but by a voice that seems to echo from another dimension. Today, we read diving deep into a chilling tale that is sure to leave you questioning the boundaries between reality and nightmare. So grab a blanket and curl up because this story is one you won't forget anytime soon. A hiker named Ben was exploring a dense forest when he heard what sounded like his mother's voice calling his name. The voice seemed to be coming from all around him, whispering his name over and over again. Confused and frightened, Ben tried to rationalize what he had heard, telling himself that it was just his imagination playing tricks on him. But as the voice continued to persist, he knew that something was out there in the woods with him. As he walked deeper into the forest, the voice grew louder and more insistent. Unable to bear it any longer, Ben turned and ran in the opposite direction, hoping to escape whatever was calling his name. But the more he tried to get away, the more the voice seemed to follow him, whispering his name and taunting him with its eerie familiarity. Terrified, Ben stumbled upon a clearing and collapsed to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. He looked around wildly, trying to identify the source of the voice, but saw nothing but trees swaying in the wind. And then, as quickly as it had started, the voice faded away. Ben sat there for a long time, catching his breath and trying to calm himself down. When he finally stood up, he noticed his surroundings, realizing that he had wandered much farther than he had intended. With trembling hands, he pulled out his phone and called for help. As the night wore on, the forest grew darker and more menacing. The trees loomed over him like gnarled fingers reaching out to grab him, and every rustle of leaves sounded like the voice calling his name. Ben huddled under a tree, trying to keep himself warm and awake. He didn't want to fall asleep and become trapped in the forest alone. Just before dawn, he heard the sound of sirens in the distance. Hope surged through him, and he started to run toward the sound. But as he ran, he felt the grip of fear tightening around his heart. What if the voice found him again? What if he was never meant to be found? As the sun began to rise, casting an eerie glow over the forest, Ben's hope turned to despair. He had been running for hours and still hadn't found anyone. Exhausted and terrified, he collapsed to the ground and closed his eyes, waiting for the inevitable. In the morning, rescuers found Ben's abandoned backpack and began searching for him. They found his footprints leading straight into the dense underbrush, and then they stopped abruptly, as if he had vanished into thin air. Despite their best efforts, they were unable to locate him anywhere in the vast wilderness. And so the search was eventually called off, leaving behind more questions than answers. What had happened to Ben? Had he been taken by some wild animal, or had he simply gotten lost and wandered away? Or could there be something more sinister at play? The thought of a malevolent entity lurking in the woods sent shivers down the spines of the rescuers, and they couldn't help but wonder if they were next. But what exactly is this voice, and how does it know your name? Well, there are a few theories out there. Some believe that it's the voice of a restless spirit, someone who died in the woods and is now forever trapped there, doomed to wander the forest and whisper to those who enter it. Others believe that it's the voice of the forest itself, a manifestation of the ancient trees, and creatures that dwell within them, communicating with each other and warning those who enter their domain to stay away. But perhaps the most unsettling theory is that it's the voice of something else entirely, something evil and sinister that lurks in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. This malevolent entity feeds on the fear and despair of those who hear it, growing stronger with each terrified scream. And it seems to have a particular fondness for the name, your name, calling out to you specifically, beckoning you closer to it so that it can do whatever it is that it wants with you. But why would an evil entity bother calling out your name at all? Is it just for fun, or is there a deeper, more sinister reason behind it? Well, some believe that entities like these feed on our deepest fears, and that knowing your name is one of their ways of getting under your skin, of making you feel like you're being hunted, of creating a sense of dread and paranoia that makes it easier for them to manipulate you. And let's face it, our names are a powerful thing. They're a part of our identity, a way of connecting with others, and a source of comfort in a world that can often feel cold and uncaring. When someone calls our name, we naturally turn our heads to see who it is, to make eye contact, and to acknowledge their presence. But when the voice that calls your name is not a familiar one, when it comes from the shadows and sends shivers down your spine, it becomes a terrifying experience that can leave you questioning your sanity. Imagine being in a crowded place like a party or a concert, and suddenly you hear your name being called out, but not by someone you know. You turn around, but see nothing but strangers staring back at you. You dismiss it, assuming that you must have misheard. But then it happens again and again and again, no matter where you go or what you try to do. It feels like the entire world is against you, like you're being stalked by some unseen entity that knows your name and delights in your fear. It's a terrifying thought, but it's not entirely implausible. After all, there are plenty of stories about people who have experienced something similar, who have heard their name being called out in seemingly random situations, only to find themselves in danger moments later. Coincidence? Perhaps. But what if there's something more to it? What if there's a sinister force at work that knows our names and is using them against us? But the truth is, we may never know for sure. The realm of the supernatural is a tricky one, and there is no way to prove or disprove the existence of malevolent entities that lurk in the shadows, waiting to strike. But perhaps the most haunting possibility is that it was the voice of something else entirely, something evil and predatory that lurked in the shadows, waiting to strike. Whatever the truth may be, the voice that called Ben's name continues to echo through the dark woods, a chilling reminder of the day that a young man vanished without a trace. So if you're ever hiking in the woods and you hear your name being called, don't ignore it. Run. Just run as fast as you can and don't look back. Because the voice that calls your name may not be a voice at all, but something far more sinister. Do you dare hike in the woods after hearing this story? Let us know in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this terrifying tale. If you did, don't forget to subscribe for more spine-chilling stories that will keep you up at night. Thanks for watching and happy hiking, if you dare.